Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips for another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today, our guest is going to be Arnold Stalk, CEO and founder of Veterans Village. But before we get to Mr. Stalk, Ms. Phillips.
Hi, everybody. Hi, thanks for coming, Arnie. I have some announcements, as I always do. This show's being sponsored by Semper Fi Heating and Cooling. Yes, they are a veteran-owned business. And to get in touch with them, it is callsemperfi.com, and get in touch with them. It's getting hotter now, so if you need your system checked, get in touch. And we've got more sponsors coming over the next month or two. And let me just mention, if you are a candidate and you want to advertise on our show, we are getting upwards now of 15 to 20,000 viewers. That's, I think, what we're going to hit this month. So if you have a yard sign like this, you can advertise on our show and you will have a lot of people viewing your sign. And we will only take one candidate per race. So if you are the first one to get your sign up and advertise with us, we will not advertise your opponents, right?
Absolutely.
Just want to see if you're listening. So if you have a business, you're a candidate, you have a nonprofit, and you want to advertise, get in touch with us. Also, we have a merch store, VIPImerch.com, VIPImerch.com. We have all kinds of stuff on there for you guys to check out. Also, we've launched our consulting business website, VIPIconsulting.com. Check that out. Also, if you're a candidate, get in touch with us because we are running nonpartisan races. If you're a judge and you need a consultant, get in touch with us. Also, we are planning our ball. Our Valentine's Ball is going to be February 7th, 2026. I know it's a little ways away, but we're going to be having early bird tickets on sale this summer. So more information will be coming about that. Also, if you guys have not gotten your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System, please get your copy on Amazon. It is $14.99. It's a self-help book. If you do not have an attorney and you're representing yourself through family court, this will help you. So grab your copy and he'll even autograph a copy for you.
For $5.99.
No, it's free. Don't let him tell you that. So speaking of family court, so we were down at family court again today. And we went into Judge Perry's courtroom, and she was very gracious and spent some time talking with us because the case that she was hearing was a sealed case. So we couldn't sit in on that, but we did spend some time talking with her, and your live kind of went over that. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk about, we were in Judge Gibson's courtroom, and this was a particular hearing that we wanted to hear. We had a guest on our show a few weeks ago, Jasmine Rojas. And in my opinion, her kids were wrongfully taken from her. And it's a horrific case involving CPS. She has two little girls. One is an infant, and she has been away from her girls for 4 months now. And
she was breastfeeding.
And she was breastfeeding her child. She has been away from them. The parents have not been arrested. They have not been criminally charged. There are opinions of what happened to her baby in the hospital. It is not conclusive. There are many other factors. And I was stunned today by her attorney, Jason Weiner. Or Jason Weiner. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so forgive me, Jason, if you see this. I don't believe you fought for her today. She has sent you all of these documents that she wrote up for you to send to the judge. I don't know if the judge even received these. Judge Gibson, did you receive all of these documents from her attorney? Because it didn't sound like it going through this court case today. And hearing what you said, Judge, it didn't sound like that you have these documents. And I just printed a couple of them. And she went through hundreds of pages of these medical records. She's not a doctor, but she went through it. Jason, you didn't go through them. She wrote down all of these findings and all of these discrepancies, and she sent these in. And she also sent in things that foster mom is doing, like posting her children's photos on Facebook. You did actually address that today, but what I found interesting was there was an attorney on Zoom who were representing the girls, who in the state's eyes are victims, okay? When they found out that these photos were posted by foster mom of these girls online, they're supposedly victims. They have victims' rights, and that attorney did not speak up. I didn't hear her, did you?
No.
I didn't hear her say anything or admonish foster mom for putting photos online of these children that are not hers. And also, there was the foster mom text Jasmine, the real mother, that she has a no contact order for 2 weeks and she can't talk to her kids. Was there one issued by the court? I didn't see one that was signed, a no contact order issued by the judge. Did you order one or issue one, Judge Gibson? Did that come from CPS? Did that come from the district attorney? All I heard about today was a 2-week cooling off period. That's not a no contact order. Jasmine and her husband are being alienated, in my opinion, from their children. And the 3-year-old, I just have to ask you, Judge Gibson, you have children. How would you feel if you had a 3-year-old in their bed, CPS came in your home without a court order, without a warrant, without a marshal, without a sheriff, without anybody, and that child is sleeping, no sign of abuse, no active abuse, no bruises, no blood, no nothing, and pulled your child out of bed and took your child and you haven't seen her for 4 months? How would that make you feel? This is what is happening. Yes, these parents are upset. I believe they have not done anything to their children at all. They are innocent. And the way they were spoken to today, I thought they were spoken to like criminals. They are parents fighting for their kids. So they are innocent until proven guilty. They have not been arrested. They have not been charged. So I would say, Jason, get these documents to the judge, please, if you have not already, that Jasmine sent to you. And Judge Gibson, please review. She has taken hours and hours and hours to put these things together for you so you can see what's going on the other side of this case. So it's not always cut and dry. There's a lot of things here that need to be reviewed. And I think it's atrocious that her children are not with her at this juncture.
And the fact that the attorney was on Zoom instead of personally being there with his clients.
Exactly.
That was appalling.
Jason, that was appalling for this kind of a case that is so inconclusive. And they are they're grasping at straws and have taken her children. You did not fight for her. And for you to not be in the courtroom with her, I thought was absolutely awful. That was awful.
And we're talking about an infant and a 3-year-old.
Yes. And the DA was talking. I didn't hear much from you, Jason. I didn't hear a fight out of you. Me, I'm not an attorney. I could have presented that case much better than you. I know a lot about this case. I could have stood up there and defended her 10 times better than what you did. I didn't hear hardly anything out of your mouth.
And both parents are correctional officers.
Yes,
working for the
absolutely.
The state of Nevada. So
yes.
You'd think they went through some type of background check to get that job right.
It is the most horrific case, but we are going to follow this. And the next hearing is another 5 painful weeks away. And it's my understanding that in cases like this, there should be status updates every single week with this kind of a situation. Judge Gibson, I don't know if that is, I've heard that from an attorney, but I think that this needs to be moved forward quicker because every single day is painful for her to be away from her kid, her and her husband, to be away from their babies.
And the kids away from their parents.
Yeah, the kids are crying for their parents. But anyway, thank you for allowing me the time. It was very emotional today. And other than, that Judge Gibson was professional. He did, a great job in the courtroom. His marshal was great. And otherwise, it was a good experience.
Well, I hope a lot more people are passionate about these things, such as you, and you're not even related to this case.
Man, there is nothing like a mother's love, right? I'm sorry, but gentlemen, men, Judge Gibson, the attorney, you're men. And it is not the same. It is not the same. When you bear children and you are a woman and you're a mom, it is a completely different connection and meaning. So that's all I have to say about that.
Are you completed with your rants, Ms. Phillips?
For right now, yes. Sorry, Arnie.
I'm a parent. I get it.
I didn't like the part about that. You got to be a woman.
No, it's a totally different.
About our society. They haven't taken that away yet.
Yeah. Mr. Stalk.
Mr. Sampson, how are you?
Haven't seen you in a while.
Good to see you too.
Tell us about you.
Good to see you. Long time no see, dear.
Yes.
Tell us about you. Give us a bio.
Wow. 1974, I wanted to be an architect and didn't know what that was. Grew up in Culver City, California. This will take about 3 minutes. And right up the street from MGM Studios, it was MGM in those days, and Desi Lou Studios. As a kid, I saw movie sets, people making movies up and down the street. A lot of my friends and neighbors worked at the studios, set designers, scenic designers, makeup artists, and I thought, wow, this is a great world. And Culver City is sort of still, it's an incorporated city in the middle of LA County. And what a shock it was when I got into architectural school and was in the VISTA, Volunteers in Service to America, which was with the Domestic Peace Corps. And I worked with Community Design Center. My first project was a methadone clinic for heroin addicts on Skid Row in LA.
Wow.
And to a kid that came out of, where they used to shoot Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith's show, to seeing what the world was and parts of, really was shocking to me. I was going to architectural school at the same time, and it was a great eye-opener for me and really set the stage of what is really right in our world, because I think we have a wonderful country, but we have a myriad of problems that still exist today. Doesn't matter if it's 1974 or 2025. What was true then is true now. Nobody should live on the streets, particularly a veteran or a veteran's spouse should live in the streets. And so I'm all about baby steps and prototypes and setting programs in place that make sense, that actually help people. I am not a politician. I
should have been.
What's that?
You should have.
No.
You make a good one, Arnie.
No. I ran once and I lost so bad I'm still running.
What'd you run for?
University region.
Oh, okay.
You said I ran once. I was so bad. I'm still running.
Well, I actually ran for academic. I taught at UNLV at one point, School of Architecture, and I actually ran because I thought that I could make a difference on academics, and that had nothing to do with anything.
You have a PhD.
And I do, and my opponent was Steve Sisolak. So,
oh my goodness,
one of my opponents. So, it was a great experience.
If you won, he wouldn't have become governor.
Yeah.
That would have just derailed his whole thing.
Yeah.
So I moved from LA
So we
to
should blame
Las
you for
Vegas. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
That's all right. So I moved from LA to Las Vegas and went to work after I had been in a nonprofit world in LA for many years. And I thought, we created a one-stop center in North Hollywood, California, which is still there today, which was getting all the agencies that addressed homelessness on various levels in a one-stop, like a triage center.
Yeah.
And now you see them popping up all over the place, and so, which is good, which is what it should be. And so I thought, we're going to replicate that in Las Vegas. And in Las Vegas, we had no housing. We had a housing sort of a division, but nobody leading it. And it was in those days, in 1994, is when I moved here. President Clinton had just gotten into office a year before that, in 92. And I moved here, and we were going to do the same one-stop center, except it wasn't funded. It's like an unfunded mandate when I came here. And so I worked for Mayor Jones, who I actually just saw. We saw her about 8 months ago. And it was a city that had really no nonprofits. There was no, for those of you who've been here, there was no infrastructure. And there was really just Clark County Social Service over on Shadow Lane. And we started to build things that we thought made sense. Mm-hmm. It was a horrendous political fight here.
What do you think that was?
Oh, for a myriad. There's a bunch of reasons why that people, the only way, first of all, you can't spend your way out of these problems. And there's still that myth that if you throw enough money at something, the problem's going to go away. It doesn't.
No, it's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid, and it's sort of like, putting a Band-Aid on some part of the skin needs sutures.
Would that be similar to the city council turning on tunnel for towers in North Las Vegas?
Well, I'm only familiar with that, Steve, because I know that the political consultant that they hired is really a very reputable person here. And it was a situation where they put it in a place that it shouldn't have been. I don't know the politics of it, and I really don't.
Across from the VA hospital.
Right across from the VA hospital. Perfect. I think you and I talked about that. Perfect site conceptually, but you can't just go and place I've done a lot of work with neighbors for decades now. So I speak of some experience. You can't take an idea and plunk it into the middle of a neighborhood and then go to the neighbors. It does not work. It never worked. I've learned it the hard way.
Get the neighbors on board first.
Oh, my first 5 minutes in literally the first 5 minutes in my seat in the old city hall, I get a call from Jan Jones. She goes, "Hey, Arnie, we got to go downstairs. There's about 150 people protesting to see what you're going to do for the homeless." Same issues. And so, history repeats itself. You still see these outcropping, these newfangled nonprofits that open, or the new ideas. They go into neighborhoods and they decide to show the plans for whatever they're doing at the podium during the hearing.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, Arnie, did we get through your bio? Or are we still working on that? Because I didn't hear anything.
We kind of skipped ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get so.
I didn't hear you had kids or grandkids.
It's like I heard you about family courts. You get really into it, and I can't.
He's all focused now.
I'm all focused. Like, how do we get out of this problem? My wife's here, thank God, Shannon, and I have. Like I said, I moved here. Got an architectural education. Taught architecture for 14 years in LA. And then moved here, taught a little bit at UNLV, went to work for the mayor. And our son, Jacob, is now, he's going to be 22 years old.
Taller than you.
Much taller than me. And he's on our board. We're a family operation inside and out, very grassroots. And I think that covers my thing. I helped start, I'm a founder of, I don't like talking about myself much, founder of a group that was called Christmas in April here. It's now Rebuilding Together, where we went. They still do houses, redo houses for people. I was on the board of Habitat for Humanity, Goodwill of Southern Nevada, United Way for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And you learn a few things along the way I believe when you're there for the right reason, when you're not running for an office where it's not some sort of a platform or a stump, and one stumps. It's not a stump speech. Mm-hmm. Hence my interview. I don't read off of talking points, and I answer questions the best that I can answer them.
So your position to end homelessness is more than just ending veteran homelessness. You want to end homelessness in the entire country.
And entirely across the United States. Yeah. Because there's no reason for it. There really isn't. And at first I thought that was very naive of myself to think, well, you can end this problem. I can't end it, but it will be solved, I believe, in townships, rurals, urban areas, and city centers where people can get past their own political agendas and their own biasness.
Do you think part of that is, I like two parts of it. One part of it is being addicted to drugs, and the other part of it is mental illness?
It's a drug issue, mental illness, and domestic violence.
And DV.
Domestic violence is one of the biggest problems in homelessness, in people becoming homelessness. Women head of households principally that can't sustain that for various reasons. And the whole operation breaks apart. The whole family unit just gets ripped apart because of fentanyl, and because of all the other drugs. I mean, the fentanyls and those drugs have been around for ages. So I think that's a big part of it. But again, and this is not a political statement. It's going to sound like it. If you watch the news and you hear this, it sounds like a sound, but it's not. I think government has an integral part in the solution of especially homelessness for families, veterans, seniors, and individuals and children. But I think this is a private sector solution. I can tell you why.
How does your program work? If there's a vet that wants to get into Veterans Village, how would that process?
That's a good question. So I'll give you an example. I like to give examples so they're not theories. We got a call the other day and we work hand in hand, and I can't understand why she puts up with me. But we got a call the other day from we have a property management company that does all the reporting and the logistics and things like that. They said we have a veteran from U.S. Vets that U.S. Vets is looking to place in permanent housing, and we have one of our villages is 20 units. It's a micro village, but it's a macro example of what the problem is with helping particularly our vets. We said, perfect. We've housed U.S. vet clients for years. That individual's moving in around May 1st, which is just around the corner, May 1st. And when that person moves in, they'll have a 3 square pantry every week. They'll have medical care if the VA can't provide it, and working hand in hand with that if they're struggling with addictions. There's so many agencies now that do things that didn't do them when I started Veterans Village. It was scary. We didn't know what to do. I had a lobby full of vets, and I'm thinking, oh man, what are we going to do?
Don't let them get angry.
What? No. And don't ever lie to anybody.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Do not do that. That's a bad thing. And so that's how we help people one at a time. And we work with the VA. The VA's
their DD-214?
Yep. That'll tell the whole story right there. As for example, this on May 15th, this new to us, a VA medical van, fully equipped, is going to come to our property.
Oh, that's awesome.
And here's the thing. They're right up the street from us at the CRC on East Charleston. And I knew that they have all these facilities. I'm racking my brain. And finally, we got connected with the right person. And she says, oh, yeah, we have a full medical van here. I said, why don't you come to our super pantry, which is the third Thursday? Okay, signed it up. And within 10 minutes, we had that partnership done.
You know, you do a pantry, right?
Yes.
Food. And I remember me and Jim Jonas was going to bring food there.
Right.
And we had issues because we had to get there at a certain time.
Right.
And if you don't get there at a certain time, they won't take the food.
Right.
And I was like mesmerized by this. I was like, get out of town. You should be able to take food anytime. What was the issue with that? You had to be there at a certain time to give food.
Because our pantry is a very structured pantry. There's pantries all over the city. If somebody can't find food now, they're not looking. Right. It's all over the place. Right. And when politicians are running, it's a banner. It's all sorts of different things. It's part of these things. But our pantry is very structured. And I got to be really honest with you.
I had to give the food to the church, by the way.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad they took it. So it has become so violent downtown that we had to hire an armed security person who's a wonderful woman who won't let anything happen there at all. And, people are now in line and they're respectful. It got way out of hand. I've had knives pulled on me. My wife's been threatened.
Where's the pantry?
21st and Fremont.
Oh, bad neighborhood.
Right where you went that day.
Yeah, we had that tour. That was incredible. You have a ton of food in there. And it's amazing. Maybe you could tell people, is there things you can and can't take?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I want to know why Metro don't provide extra security down there for you.
They do the best they can. They really do. I mean, if I had a problem, like I had a real bad problem recently, I texted our sheriff. He answered me in 3 minutes.
You know, we had a press conference in front of my house for Vem Miller, you know, the alleged third assassin of President Trump.
Yes.
And I called up Metro and I asked for additional officers to roam my neighborhood while the press conference was taking place. And how many squad cars were there?
There was a few of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kept rolling by.
Yeah.
Well, if you called me, I'd answer. But serious. But, you know, Metro has been there for us. I can't even tell you how many situations we've had 911s we don't have the operation we used to have before COVID. I was down there constantly. And, you know, I've had knives pulled on me. Metro's there. Like, when you call Metro and you tell them there's somebody has a gun or they're there.
You say gun, everybody shows up.
Oh, yeah. That's the trigger word.
Usually.
You say officer down, you're going to get everybody.
Oh, yeah. And we've been vetted, scoured. I mean, we had the Secret Service. Well, they were there for Vice President Pence was supposed to come out. They were there for 6 weeks, every single day. And then he decided, nope, we're not bringing them here. And we went to Nellis Air Force Base and they scared the Secret Service off.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I hope I didn't get off track too much, but that's what the focus of what we are able to do, and Shannon has really structured me so I don't get off the track to go, let's go build 1,000 units, because it's not going to happen, is what do we do for each veteran in the veterans case. So that's the food pantry and emergency supplies. And so we rekindled a project called Veterans Village Home Makeover. And we've done 5 veterans houses since last December. Okay. Some are air conditioning compressors, and with another one we went in and did much more with Penta Building Group, where we go in and redo make some ADA adjustments. This gentleman's in a wheelchair, couldn't even get out of his house, of course. Wow. It's a long VA story, and I know there's a million of them, but this one.
How do you get your funding, Mike?
Foundations, individual grants, not government grants. We have no government grants.
State grants?
Nothing from the government. And it's not anything about that because...
Well, the state, or is it private grants?
Private grants. Because when I moved here, I headed the housing division for 3.5 years. And in that was community development block grants and home grants and redevelopment money and all those things. And, you know, there's a definite place in the world for 'em. I am not a bureaucrat. Okay. When I see government grants, I start running because I know what it takes. Okay. And I know what the product is.
How about the food pantry? How does one donate to that?
Thank God our food pantry is stocked principally as a drop ship.
Rats or anything in there?
Rats?
Mice?
No, they're not in the pantry. But we don't. Well, that's the other thing. I
figured it was on 21st and Fremont. They might have.
No, that place was super clean. I remember when we came down there and went through the tour of that place. It was incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, it was great.
And COVID changed everything after that. So instead of doing it like that, we get a drop shipment on our site from 3 Square. And whatever other organization does canned food or non-perishable food drive for us, it all gets distributed that day. There's no storage, and it goes right to the street, right to our residents that need it. And then we do an emergency supplies. Like right now, we're working with Project Maryland for feminine hygiene kits, and the VA, whoever is there, partners with us. We do a Nevada Homeless Alliance of pop-up every quarter, which is a more elaborate operation where we're able to triage people, help them, get an address, get them for that day, get a shower, and those types of things.
Have you gotten a proclamation from any of the municipalities? Why you laugh?
Well, you don't get thanked when you do this kind of work. Well, and if you want to get thanked, you're not in it for the right reasons.
Well, no, not you want to get thanked, but somebody should thank you for doing it.
They have. I mean, I really miss Mayor Goodman for a number of reasons. It's a very emotional subject to me. And like I had sort of mentioned to you before, I began with Mayor Jones, and then after Mayor Jones, we worked with Mayor Goodman, with Oscar, and then Carolyn, and then now Shelley Berkeley. And our formalized development partnership happened with sort of when Oscar was going up, but Carolyn really took it and helped us acquire the villages and our own property. We don't have landlords. We had a landlord that we don't want to have anymore. And so our villages are funded principally by Freddie Mac and Bercadia.
Well, they should name a street after you now.
Nah, they won't name any streets with that. They're not coming. They're not going to name streets after me. Because and you know what? What
you're doing is humanitarian work, right?
It is, but what a lot of people don't like this approach.
Feeding the homeless?
Well, it's not conventional. It is just not. And there's a certain price you pay for that. And I had talked to my wife last week. I said, when I do write a book, it's going to be called Excluded, because we get excluded from most things, which is fine with me. We're not into the gala thing all that much, although I think galas are a great vehicle for nonprofits. We're just not into that. And what we're into is serving.
Once a veteran is enrolled in your program, do they pay rent, or do they pay any type of food costs or anything like that, or how's it?
Well, I'll continue to use the U.S. Vets model because that's how we provide service. U.S. Vets does a fantastic job one-on-one with a veteran. Case management, real case management. Goals, budgets, whatever their issue is. Right. We don't get involved in that. We're the innkeeper. Okay. We make sure everything's in order. They're all up to HUD standards. The rent's collected. It's all accounted for. The mortgage is paid. The place is clean. And we stage from that location on 21st Street, our pantry, our Nevada Homeless Alliance, or whatever else, if Workforce Connections is there, if somebody needs a job. So we're the innkeeper and we're the keeper of the grounds and the organization.
Have any veterans ever passed away on?
Oh, yes.
And what is your
our protocol?
Policy or protocol? How do you handle
well, under law, you hit me on a real emotional subject because it's not a great thing, obviously. Under law, it's the coroner's body, and then we call Metro, we call the coroner, and then that room's sealed until Metro comes and releases it, and is as respectful as we can be. They notify the family or whatever branch they were in, right, or whatever we find out what their history was, and we've had some really great people. I mean, really great people. My first resident, I'll never forget him. He was a Korean War vet, really good guy. And when I left there, we had helped him. It's not that we're doing saintly work, but we do things. The people were ready to kick him out. And he was in the street. And he looked at me and he said, I'd take a bullet for you.
Wow.
And those kinds of things just take all this day-to-day junk and bureaucracy and paperwork and name calling and all that stuff. And it breaks it down to the level of, let's provide a roof over this man or this woman or this individual's head so that they can live in respect and dignity. If they have a problem, get them a damn doctor. Don't give a person who's feeling suicidal an appointment, and they don't do it much anymore now, at the VA for 3 months down the line.
Is this more of a transitional space for them where they stay a period of time and then move on to maybe they buy a home?
Ours is permanent housing.
It is, okay.
But we also do some transitional housing. But ours is, the only solution to the homeless problem, they can have studies and scholars and, all these people from the fancy universities come in. The only way out of this problem is to build housing. Whether it's for a veteran, whether it's for a senior, whether it's for a person and let me tell you, there are so many people that worked really hard in hotels and retired and have nothing in our city. And for Christ's sakes, And I think it's great that they do this. We're bringing food to people in tunnels. They're living underground in storm tunnels.
Yeah, she wanted to do that when she was running.
I wanted to, and I intend to go down in those tunnels someday, and I want to see that.
So she has to go armed.
But, well, obviously.
They've done great. The organization is called China Light Foundation. They're great. They fill a need, but we should never have a tunnel with housing in it.
Right.
Who's in charge of letting the tunnels open so when the water comes, it's going to drown somebody? Yeah. We've gone completely backwards, and we can be going forward. So,
do you have a social service program on site?
We don't do any programs. The agencies do it.
Okay.
So again, the person from U.S. Vets or from Salvation Army, they all have VSOs. Mm-hmm. That come on, work directly with the vet. And I'll tell you, a big, huge problem in our country, and a lot of these issues are not discussed, are veteran spouses, are people that lost their husband, and they are lost. We just did a makeover for a veteran spouse who's a widow. And she couldn't do her yard, and they own a house, and a lot of vets own houses, but barely. They're just getting by. So we went in and landscaped it and cleaned everything up. And
did you come do mine?
No,
you don't qualify.
And then we found out that her dog, and we do a lot with dogs and cats, we really don't talk about that much. Her dog was going to die if it didn't have emergency surgery, and they had to take the dog to Utah because it was a long story with the veterinarian clinic here, and we paid for that. It turned out the dog passed away, but they tried to save the dog's life. It cost us, money. Yeah. So that's what we do with contributions. And it works, it really works. Christmas in April is a national nonprofit. It's now called Rebuilding Together. It was started by two guys in Midland, Texas. I forget their names. I met them. Unbelievable. They just start fixing water heaters and people that couldn't afford basic home repairs. And they turned into a national nonprofit, and they're still here doing very good work.
I wanted to ask you about the pets. Do your facility... could veterans bring pets in there?
Yes, dogs and cats that are approved. They're a certain weight. They're approved by our property manager, just like they're a resident. Because to me, I don't want to say it, but a lot of dogs are better than the residents. But that's
can't bring a Saint Bernard.
Probably not. If they're housebroken, yes. I used to own Saint, so.
Is there like a park nearby, or there's a? Park?
Well, it's called the California Courtyard.
Okay.
If there's a court in there, they can walk them in the courtyard, clean up after them, and
how big does a family have to be? What if somebody's a family of 5? Or
we have a 2-bedroom unit, which could probably hold that. Not the best environment for 2 family units, but and right now there's nonprofits that are building. Not for the people that are living with us are at the very, very lowest level of income.
Wow.
And so...
like poverty.
Oh, definitely. They couldn't make it on their own. And so the HUD VA, there's a lot of good things the government's doing, believe it or not. There's a HUD VA VASH voucher, which is the old Section 8. Mm-hmm. VA VASH, if you qualify for that and you're a veteran, and it's tricky, if you have a VSO that knows how to do the paperwork and the documents and all that, you can live a fairly comfortable life.
There was a veteran in Florida. I read this a couple of years back. He was living on the streets, and somebody brought him to the VA to get his paperwork and get him some disability. Found out he was 100% disabled, and the money was going into his bank account. He had like over $200,000 in his bank account.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, we've had that. Absolutely. Absolutely. We had
what are you doing here?
We had a woman that was a veteran resident that she's a registered nurse and enlisted in the Navy, and it was put on a ship, a Navy hospital ship, and she hid the fact she was a woman for a long time till they figured it out. And but she was incredibly damaged with PTSD from she identified bodies and dental work and things in Vietnam. So there's a lot of stories like that that we've had. And, you know, the only way this problem is going to be solved, I believe, is one village at a time. And the days of the big, large, multi-hundred bed facilities, I believe, don't produce much to me because they become a factory.
Yeah, like an assembly line.
Just like an assembly
So how many of these villages do you have so far?
Well, we were on our way to have quite a few until I got COVID. We had 3, and we have 2 now.
Okay. What's next for Arnold Stalk?
What's next? No, what's next is, and I think I can speak for us, is that...
Or should I say Dr.?
No, just call me Arnie, please, but thank you. Day by day, we take what comes in, we assess it as a group. I call it our trifecta. And we reach out to our partners like Penta Building Group. They'll come in and do a lot of things that we don't have money to do, and things that are second nature to them, like the handicap, the concrete pad ramps that they poured for Mr. Martin. We have plumbers. We have all sorts of skilled people, because that's what it requires. Excuse me, skilled people, and that's what we do. We keep on doing what's right in front of us.
You should reach out to Semper Fi right there. Mm-hmm. Veterans owned.
Yeah,
they're veteran owned.
Yeah. Are they? Well, yeah.
Semper Fi.
Right.
Wow. So, Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I have a few things, actually.
Please.
So I know you didn't want to talk politics, but I was thinking,
all right.
I couldn't help but think about all the money that Doge is finding that has gone all these places, the waste and the fraud and, millions and millions of dollars, billions actually, that could go to places like this. And I know you don't take any government money, but I just, it's stunning how much waste of our tax dollars has gone on when they could help. We should never have a homeless veteran on the street, let alone any, homeless at all. I think you're right. We can solve that if they spent the money much more, much better than what they do.
Well, Elon Musk, somebody said he's not a genius. Let's say he's not a genius. He's a pragmatist and an economist. And it is a function of dollars and cents. And nobody, when I say things, I can only speak from my own experience, which I've had quite a bit of. When a dollar comes from Washington, by the time it gets down to Southern Nevada, it's probably, of actual costs, it's cut down substantially. And what happens is people are fact checking. They're saying, well, how much? I could say, how many people are homeless? And I used to say, if there's more than one, that's enough for me. I'm not going to get into the numbers game with anybody because they use it for other vehicles. And so I hope I'm answering your question. It wasn't a surprise at all to see what they uncovered. I think that documentation of that is extremely important at this point. I think that it is something that could be easily solved. But again, you can't solve this problem by throwing money at it. For instance, the ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan, they labeled it, is they threw trillions at it. It will make things better. There's no question. Some infrastructure money and housing. Right now, I'm working on a West Care project for children, women and children. There are good things there, but if we really took the fat out of what was uncovered, we can make a huge difference. Mm-hmm. And it's not that we wouldn't take federal money, but what it would do to us is make us a bureaucracy. It would restrict our freedom, our independent thinking, our advocacy. We get calls from both sides of the house. And Shannon's been with me. We've been to both White Houses, the Biden White House and the Trump White House. Mm-hmm. And when you start out in a small city like Culver City, you end up in the White House in meetings and people saying, well, what do you think about this? They know probably in the first 5 minutes, I'm not there to screw with them. I'm there serious. I don't want to, we don't use cliches or talking points. And so I'm still remain optimistic that we get our act together for a cleaner term, that we get a budget, that we get budgets that are based in reality and not funny money, that we get, if you said to me, well, God, we can't solve this affordable housing crisis. Well, yeah, you can. I got a 10-point plan right here. And it starts with cutting all the restrictions and the red tape out. I don't know if you remember a gentleman named Jack Kemp. He should rest in peace. He was a U.S. senator. He played football. He was a vice presidential candidate. I met him in L.A. Great guy. And he used to say that bureaucracies and red tape have put an economic reign of terror on the housing industry. And he had this thing that he rolled down the room with, am I talking too much?
No, you're fine.
And he put what it takes to get a permit. And he used to say in Orange County, if we just got rid of that and streamlined the permit process, the review process, we don't even have to get rid of the environmental process. Just tell a KB home, excuse me, or a housing developer that the red tape's gone. Let's just try it on one project. You'd see the price of housing go like this.
Drop.
Straight down.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned drugs earlier. What do you do when you are there drug problems out there? Are people on drugs? Do they try and buy and sell drugs there? What do you do when you come across some? Do you kick them out of the facility?
It all depends on the program. And in our instance, we have, it's just, I think that the treatment community has been so footballed around that if it was up to me, there would, I've been clean and sober a long time. So you're either clean and sober or you're out there. I wouldn't, and I know that a lot of people that are housing first, they're taking people that have intense drug problems and putting a roof over the head. And the thinking was, well, it's better roof over the head than out on the street. It's a very complicated problem, and it's a one-by-one case. Each individual is different.
Though.
What's that?
They need a facility.
Well, yeah.
And by the way, what are your rules for Veterans Village? No drugs, no alcohol, no guns. What are your rules?
Well, and most our house rules, our house rules really come from our property management company, who we hired and we vetted. And if you're selling drugs, if you're doing anything illegal, if you're doing anything,
you're out
on the street, you get a notice and you get evicted. You have to go through an eviction process. Because you can't just kick anybody out unless they're in a clean and sober house.
Okay.
And there it can be controlled.
Like a pardons board.
Exactly. Right.
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of like that. And so the restrictions for it and the rights of the tenants have good points to them and bad points. The good points are obvious. They protect the rights of a tenant. But I really don't want to have anything to do with housing someone who I know is on heroin, who is struggling, who will eventually die from that, and have somebody step up and say, oh, that's okay. It's not okay for me because my background is you're either drunk or you're not.
Do you allow weapons on your property?
No.
Okay. What happens if they get a CCW?
If they have a CCW, it's within the law, they have a CCW.
Okay. Then that's okay.
If anything that's within the law is fine. Anything that's against the law, there's plenty of places to go and do that. And believe me, people that want to do stuff, don't come and stay with us.
Right.
This is not the place to act out like that. There's plenty of others downtown and the likes that have, weekly, hourly, whatever places. Well, yeah, they're all over the place.
Sure.
Can you tell everybody the hours and the days that they can bring food down? What kind of food you're looking for specifically, if you have any, or
Thank you.
do's and don'ts, that kind of thing, if people want to donate.
If you go on our website at sharelasvegas.org, it shows exactly what we need.
Okay.
And we have a pantry manager that is a strict disciplinarian, a heart of gold.
Can you spell that website out for people?
Oh, sure. Thank you. ShareLasVegas.org. ShareLasVegas.org. Thank you. I always forget that.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to donate to us. There's some, rules on there or things of where to bring it, how to do it, get in touch with our pantry manager. And if somebody wants to donate, we're on PayPal. It's today it's really easy. You used to go through an act of Congress to donate.
Anything else, Ms. Phillips?
No.
Mr. Stalk, do you have anything that we didn't cover that you would like to cover?
Well,
Any
first of all,
events or anything coming up? Or?
I didn't start out this way. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
It's, I always say that anytime anybody talks about change, not many people want to hear it. They want to hear talking points, and they want to hear the sky is blue and things. But when we show up, we talk about issues.
Right.
And it's a basic, fundamental issue of the lack of affordable housing or the non-existence of affordable housing, sobriety programs. A lot of my terms are not newfangled. They're older terms, but to me, you're either drunk or you're not drunk. You're either high or you're not high. There's no in between. And so those are the types of things that we believe in, we advocate. This session in Congress, one of the elected officials said, Arnie, can you testify? Can you written testimony for something to do with the suicide hotline? Absolutely. We do that all the time. We've been expert witnesses, testified in Congress, and show up, I believe, for the right reasons. And so we want to continue to do that. That's a big part of our give.
Okay. Nothing coming up?
We have a project called Veterans Village Home Makeover.
Okay.
And that is a very grassroots thing. We've done 5 homes this year. Right before Veterans Day, we're going to unveil, what do they call it now? Reveal. We're going to do that or a ceremony. We don't have, like I said, we don't have a gala, but we have a breakfast, and we have a group of vets that vet our vets, and we asked them, where do you want to have this breakfast every year? And they said, Jerry's Nugget Coffee Shop. So that's where we have it. And it's old school, great food, and we'll have that. So we don't charge for it sometime around.
It's like continental breakfast.
It's just, well, they order off the menu. So
wow.
That's another thing we do on the quiet. We were out to dinner, and we saw this veteran come in with a Korean War vet hat, and we asked them, the waiter said, please, whatever he wants, whatever the lady's with wants. And this guy was crying his eyes out. We saw him across the table. That's the way people can really help. If you see somebody that you know's done that, like yourself, served our country, be nice to them. Shake their hand, buy them a meal, whatever.
Well, Dr. Stalk, we appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mark is going to zoom in on you, and you get the final word, whatever you want to say, point of contact if you want to give it, if you want to tell people to bring to the pantry, or whatever it is you want.
Thank you.
You want to get out.
Thank you very much. So, once again, thank you both for having me. And if somebody wants to get involved and make a difference, if you take it down to a level, if you have a child, you want to show them how to give, go to the pantry, grab some non-perishable canned food, put a bag together, go online, tell us that you have some you want to give, and we'll coordinate a drop-off at our pantry. And if you want to donate to ShareLasVegas.org, and stay in touch. If somebody wants to help us in any way, please write us at our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stalk. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Folks, that's Dr. Arnold Stalk, CEO and founder of Veterans Village. And Dr. Stalk is fighting against homelessness within our country. And if you know a homeless veteran you see on the street, give Dr. Stalk a call, and let's get that individual off the street. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips of Veterans in Politics. Until next time.